There are many transitions in our lives. Some are natural, some we seek, and some are even imposed by others. In fact, there are the transitions from one age to the next in life, or the transitions of roles and tasks when, for example, we grow up or become parents. And even then, it is not always easy and immediate to accommodate these changes. But it is even more difficult to welcome these transitions when they are imposed by others or situations. In fact, in some cases, these transitions seem like a real exile. We are forced to leave what we have been building. We are forced to give up ourselves, projects, desires, and even relationships. Perhaps this is why the memory of the exile has not only remained strongly engraved in the history of the people of Israel, but this experience has become paradigmatic. That is, a symbol of what can happen in the life of a people and of each individual person. The text from the book of Chronicles offered on this fourth Sunday of Lent is just one of the many references to the experience of exile that we find in the Old Testament. For Israel, exile means that it is no longer in control of its own life. Another decides in its place, departing it from a familiar land to a foreign one. Israel suddenly has to stop building what it has been working on. And when it finally returns to its land, it will find only ruins. The time of exile, however, will also be a paradoxically privileged time for Israel because it will also experience God's care. During the years of exile, Israel will also examine its relationship with God and learn to grow in faithfulness. But most of all, it will realize that God has never ceased to be with it. And when it returns to the land of promise, it can begin to rebuild. The transitions of life, while undoubtedly painful, also make it possible for us to rebuild in a new way on an earth that has been regenerated. Starting over is always difficult, especially when faced with the rubble of a city long abandoned. Perhaps these were the feelings that remained in the hearts of the Israelites who, on their return to their land, sang Psalm 136, which the liturgy offers us today. Together with other psalms, it is one of those songs addressed to God on the way back. How can we sing in a land that is not our own? We can only sing in the moment when we are given the opportunity to recover our life, our identity, who we really are. Exile is the experience of living in a reality that is not ours. We are in exile when we are forced to live a life that is not true, that does not belong to us, in which we do not find ourselves. But surely the most dangerous exile is the one we experience when we live in situations of death, when we feel betrayed and defeated, when we feel victimized by a judgment in which we do not recognize ourselves. From this exile, however, Christ rescues us. In fact, the letter to the Ephesians reminds us that Christ has come to rescue us from death, the real and most dangerous exile. Christ comes to bring us back to life. Even for Nicodemus, as we read in the Gospel, there is a passage from darkness to light, from doubt to truth, from a fear to life. In fact, Jesus insists on this passage, a passage from the fear of being judged to being free and fully oneself. The journey of Nicodemus is the journey of every human being. We all experience situations in the night when shadows take strange and threatening forms. We are all afraid of losing our security, of giving up our points of view, the granite certainties, the certainties we have built for ourselves. But sometimes reality knocks on our door and throws us into crisis. Nicodemus does not try to overcome his fears alone, but he looks for a light. He steps behind that light and walks, just as the Israelites had to look at the copper snake that Moses put on the pole. Nicodemus had to look at the cross that frightens him to discover that he does not have to go up on the cross because another has taken his place. The cross is everything that frightens us. It's death, judgment, abandonment, and loneliness. Jesus tells us to take a good look at the cross that frightens us and discover that He has taken it upon Himself in our place. And so it is only by looking at the cross that we can be healed.